Currently on next. Hi, I'm Marina Rubino, local resident and an architect. And one of the projects that were shown today, the project under construction, was the project that I'm the architect for. And we did, as Lee described, ask for a variance to be in line with other houses on Lee Avenue. And we're really grateful that that variance was granted and we eliminated that missing tooth issue. But I think clients would very much benefit from trying to fit in the neighborhood and not having to go to the zoning board to allow them to do what the right thing is to fit in the neighborhood. So thank you, hopefully, for looking into that one and correcting that issue. What I was hoping to talk to you about is the two-story space or the cathedral ceiling. And I understand the intent is to limit the bulk of houses that are being built. I'm very hesitant. Didn't see any examples, and I don't see that this being such a huge problem. I don't think any of these developer projects that are being built having a lot of these two-story spaces that are over 12 feet. I don't think developers want to put money into building open space because that's just more expensive for them and not going to get anything out of it. What happens is people who are building smaller houses, for example, that house on Lee Avenue that I'm working on, that house is 1,900 square feet. So these people are going to be having a very small house, and in order for them to feel a little bit of spaciousness, to have some place of relief, some place where it's two-story high, so you can't get a lot of expense this way, but at least you get some sense of larger space in your house. And it's fun to have spaces like that. I don't know if anybody of you experienced it, so I'm showing pictures. And this regulation disproportionately affects people with smaller houses because if you have to count that double-story space 2 times, then of course nobody's going to do it on a small house. You know, if I have 1,900 square feet, I'm not going to give it away to a whole, right? So what I'm trying to suggest that these two-story spaces on smaller houses really help out. For example, if you look on the second page, this is my house. The next one, my house with my children. This is my playroom at my house. Yes, it's a lot busier today than it looks in this picture, but that loft space is about, 6 feet wide. Would I make a playroom 6 feet wide? No, but when it feels like it's part of the larger space, it makes a lot of sense, right? And then we're downstairs with friends on the couch, and the kids are upstairs building Legos, and you get that sense of connection in the sense that you get a sense of usable space. Or, for example, the next picture of the living room with the library space, right? Not my project, found that. But it creates these very interesting creative spaces that effectively, once you pass this regulation, only the people with 6,000 square foot houses could afford, right? Us with 2,000 square foot houses, we really can't be having this anymore. So, and then this is the project, my project on Lee, the one that was shown today. So these guys, instead of having a corridor connecting a bedroom in the front and a bedroom in the back, they're having a slightly wider corridor with an open space. This is not a huge, ginormous thing that's making this house a lot bigger. But it allows them to have this floor area on the second floor where they could have a desk and feel like they're part of something, and the 6 foot wide corridor is effectively a pleasant, usable space. So what I'm wondering if there's a way to think about this, and similar to, for example, we don't count porches under 200 square feet. What if we had a similar allowance, say 200 square feet, or I don't know what you think is appropriate. 200 sounds, it's a parking space. My living room is 14 by 14, right? That's about the 200 square foot. And that allows you to have that people don't count the first 200 square foot. After that, when people are having, I don't know, thousands and thousands of square feet, I could see that being a problem. But that allows you to have that relief in a small house. So alternatively, if you look on the first page, right? This is if we just literally take the letter of the law as proposed, right? So not allowed 12 feet and over, you're supposed to count it, right? But if I were to put a floor in there, right, and make it an attic, all of a sudden, boom, I don't have to count it anymore, right? So the bulk of the house doesn't change, but what changed is my ability to interact with the person on the second floor and, you know, throw paper airplanes at each other. So I'm just thinking that a lot of creativity, and this is affecting smaller, more interesting houses designed by architects rather than the developer McMansions that we're talking about. So I understand the desire to do something quickly, but can we also be really cognizant of the sort of unintended consequences of, whoops, you know, last year we almost killed porches. Now we're going to kill the lofts? Yes.
Well, so on the front page,
Yes.
I mean, it does look to me like that's a bigger house than it would be if you did, I mean, because the ceiling is higher, so you could make, I mean, I'm not, it seems to me like this is an example of how you made the house more bulky. It's exactly, to me, it's an illustration of what we...
Right, but once the regulation passed, right, I'm perfectly allowed to do the one on the right-hand side, right? And I don't have to count it twice.
But there wouldn't be any reason to do it.
Well, why not? It makes a much easier roof slope. I don't know.
But the ceiling is much higher in that area.
So, what I'm trying to understand is if I could, what you're trying to suggest, like once you say, okay, Marina, you have to have 12 feet, otherwise we're going to count it. What that means, I'm going to have to put a flat roof on that, right? If somebody wants to have a 12-foot living room, then you're going to say, okay, cut it off at 12 feet. All my clients are going to say, no, 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 thank you, I don't want a flat roof, I want a sloping roof. So because of snow and other issues, people are afraid of flat roofs. So then I'm going to go back and say, okay, I got to have myself a sloping roof, so I'm going to do it. So the bulk of the house didn't change from the outside one little bit, right? What changed is that we eliminated the interior connection.
But you would have, I mean, if you put a roof the same as the other room, right?
Right.
You would have a big space up there I mean, the upper floor would be more usable.
Well,
Farther over into the other space.
you mean if I were to use that as an attic?
Well, if you used the same roof line as the other room.
Yeah, I
They
think,
are the same roof line.
right. I think at this point we're sort of redesigning, and
Yeah, we're getting into the
I think
weeds.
there are other people waiting to
So,
talk too.
I'm perfectly happy to pass it on. What I'm just trying to reiterate here is let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Thank you.